Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Beyond Open virtual information session on October the 1st. So happy that you're being able to join us. And we do have a number of people signed up to participate today. So we're going to wait just a couple of minutes to allow them to join. But we will make sure that we conclude on time and that you get to enjoy the rest of your Saturday after this session. So thanks for joining us, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Good morning again. This is Tracy Russ, and I just want to welcome you. If you're just joining us, I want to let you know we'll be starting in just a moment, giving a little bit more time for people to sign into the room. And we'll get started, and we will end on time. And very, very happy you're able to join us this morning. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So happy you're here. We will get started in 1 minute. And as others join, we'll welcome them, but do want to get started and appreciate your being here. Just 1 more minute. Let's go ahead and begin. My name is Tracy Russ. I am one of the team based at Foundation for the Carolinas that is here to support, lead, and make sure that the Beyond Open Small Business Grant Program is accessible to diverse small business owners out in the community, and that small business owners in Mecklenburg County are able to benefit from this wonderful program that is made possible by a very generous grant from Wells Fargo's Open for Business Fund. I want to introduce two of my colleagues. We'll have others join us as we move throughout the morning. Then I'll give you a couple of points about logistics for this meeting. Then I'll share information about the Beyond Open grant program. The information I'm going to share is available on the website at beyondopenclt.com in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. So just know that. Let me stop and introduce first Ismael Salgado.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us, everybody, on a weekend. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ish. And Almadina Menino.
Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here with you all.
And Ismael and Almadina are two of the team members that are here to help you and support you in this program as we move forward with Beyond Open Diverse Small Business Grants. So this is the second session that we've had virtually. We have other sessions that are scheduled in October leading up to the close of the application on the 28th of this month. We have both virtual and in-person events planned, so please feel free to join any of those sessions as they're moving forward and to share that information. During the session today, we do welcome your questions through the chat that's available on the session chat room. And we're also looking forward to seeing your questions through email at info@beyondopenclt.com. And you can, of course, submit questions there anytime and we'll respond. There are a number of participants today, so it's not possible for us to have everyone ask questions verbally, but please know that we will capture all of your questions. And if we don't get to your question during the session today, we'll respond individually and make sure that you have that information moving forward, because we want you to know everything you need to know to apply for a Beyond Open small business grant. So let me start by just introducing what Beyond Open is as a program. It is a small business program led by Foundation for the Carolinas and made possible by support from Wells Fargo's Open for Business Fund. These grants will help diverse, and by diverse we mean minority, woman, veteran, LGBTQ owned small businesses in Mecklenburg County grow their businesses, build wealth, and create economic mobility in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Our goals for this program are three. One is to help, as I said, build wealth among small business owners. Those of you that have started your own business, you could have just started, or perhaps you've been in business for many years. But we want to help get you what you need in terms of capital assets, and I'll explain more about that in just a moment, so that your business can grow and prosper and it can be a source of wealth for you and your family, or those that you choose to be involved in your business. Second, to help change the narrative about what small business ownership can mean and what access to capital to help businesses grow can mean in this community. And third, to benefit small businesses that are in our community now through the implementation of the program itself. And by that, I mean people like us that have been introduced in the room this morning. We know that there are small businesses, graphic designers, caterers, software engineers, others that can help us move this program forward and deliver it into the community that we can directly contract with. And that's a major goal of our program. And I'm proud to say that we have over a dozen contractors and vendors, small business owners already that have been connected to the program, and we look forward to adding to that list moving forward. What are the eligibility criteria for a Beyond Open small business grant? So first, as I shared, that the majority owner, at least 51% of the small business, be diverse, minority, woman, LGBTQ, veteran. Second, that the business be located within Mecklenburg County. And we say Charlotte-Mecklenburg as a shorthand, but what we mean by that are the boundaries of Mecklenburg County. There will be some questions around, where your business may have been incorporated in a different state, or those kinds of issues and considerations, and we'll get to that. But know that these grants are intended for local small businesses inside Mecklenburg County. We do, third criteria for eligibility, we do have a priority and a preference for businesses that are located within the corridors of opportunity inside the city of Charlotte. If you don't know what the corridors of opportunity are, don't worry about that. There is information available on the website about where those are located, and you can perhaps locate your business inside or not inside those corridors. But what we want you to know about that is that if you have a business, a small business in Mecklenburg County, we encourage you to apply whether your business is located in one of those corridors or not, because we will be making grants outside of those corridors and look forward to hearing from you. And finally, the last criteria for eligibility to apply is that your business have no more than 499 employees, which is what the SBA uses as their standard for defining small business. I know many of you probably do not have anywhere near 499 employees. That's great. It might be just you. That's fantastic. We want you to apply. One employee or up to 499, this program is for you. I do want to stop for just one moment and introduce one of my other colleagues and teammates, Azania Heron. And Azania, we just had short introductions to introduce yourself to the team, but we, of course, want everyone in the community to know that we're all here for them. So love to have you say just a couple of words.
Good morning, everyone. I'm like, we're all made it through the storm,
Right.
power outages. And so
Right.
I'm Azania Heron. I'm a part of the Beyond Open Core team, helping with awareness. And so glad that you guys heard about this program, that you registered today, and that you are joining us. Thank you, Tracy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Azania. These are this is a map of the 6 corridors of opportunity inside Charlotte-Mecklenburg. They may or may not be familiar to you, but as I said, there's more information about the corridors on the website. And if your business is not located within one of these corridors, we still encourage you to apply. Beyond Open Small Business Grants are broken into 3 brackets, but the total range, the total sizes of these grants are from $5,000 up to $250,000. If you fall into the category between 5 and 20, there will be one set of documentation that we ask for. And basically, the more money that you request, the more documentation that we'll ask for. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But what I'd like to point out right now is that these grants are for what are called capital assets: equipment, technology, inventory, real estate. Generally things that you can touch that are useful to you and your business and can help it grow. We encourage you to take a look at these examples on this list. Know that these are just examples, so they're meant to help you think about what you might need in your small business. It is not a list of the only things that are eligible for Beyond Open Small Business Grants. The idea is that we want to help you acquire an asset that will help you grow your business that ordinarily you would have had to go into debt to get. So if you're in a landscaping company, you have a landscaping company, that might be 2 trucks or some other type of equipment. If you're in the technology sector, it could be computers, hardware, those kinds of things. If you are shifting your company over to renewable sources of energy and you need equipment to make that transition, Beyond Open Grants can help you with that. So we encourage you to think about what your business might need to prosper and grow, whether you are a startup all the way to well-established, and let us know through your Beyond Open application. The uses for Beyond Open Grants, as I said, are intended for capital assets. Things that we can't fund are operational costs. And by that, I mean payroll, debt repayment, marketing, consulting, advertising, those kinds of costs that ordinarily would be in an operational budget. So we're not able to fund those. However, if we're not able to fund something that your business needs and you ask us for a capital asset that we can fund, we will try to connect you with other programs that might be able to help you with the needs that you've identified that we cannot fund. Big highlight here: Beyond Open funds, these grants are grants. They do not need to be repaid. You do not need to think about paying these back over time, immediately, or with any time frame. They are grants from the fund to your business, and they are meant for you. So I want to make sure that that's well understood, because that makes this a very, very different type of small business support program among most. I mentioned the documents and the requirements that we'll be asking for as you move through the application process. And these are listed on the website and in other materials, so I'm not going to go through them in detail, but essentially what I'd like you to know and think about is that we want to make this program as accessible as possible. That means we've done some great work to try and figure out what information we can ask for that makes this available for everyone from a solopreneur, a one employee startup, all the way up to a well-established company, and in all ranges of grant amounts in between. And making sure that we do a good job of asking for information that is useful to us and helping to review your application without it being burdensome. So we do ask for financial documents. The more we ask for is reflective of the larger amounts that you might be asking for moving forward. But there are more details on the website. One thing I do want to point out about these documentation requirements is that for the range of grants between $5,000 and $20,000, the only documents that we're asking for are 2 letters of reference. So if you have other types of information, and I'm referring over here to some of those requirements, a balance sheet, cash flow statement, profit and loss statement, other documents that you or your accountant may have available, that's great. And we do want to see them, but you don't have to have them for a grant request from between $5,000 and $20,000. And we'll work with you, and we have some organizations that are here to help you assemble those documents moving forward. And I'll talk about those in just one second. Know this program is intended for people who may have not participated in a similar program before because they viewed it as cumbersome or didn't quite know what to do in terms of assembling paperwork. We're here to help you do that. And if you have participated in a program like this before, whether it be a loan program or a grant program, and you were not successful in acquiring funds, we want to help you. We want to say yes to all of our applicants. That won't be possible, but we want to give everyone the best chance of obtaining a Beyond Open grant moving forward. I mentioned that we have supports that are available to you as applicants as you apply for a Beyond Open grant. We're very, very pleased and thrilled to have the partnership of 3 organizations that specialize and focus in supporting small businesses and small business owners: Aspire, Prospera, and the Women's Business Center of Charlotte. Their contact information is available on the website, either through email or direct phone calls for you. And as you have questions about the process, questions about the application, you would like support in assembling documentation, these organizations are here to help you move forward in the process. So as I said, if this is a new kind of process for you, please know that we're here to help you understand the process and assemble what you need to create the best application possible. The timeline for round 1. We have opened the application. It is active right now. It will close on October the 28th at 5 p.m. And we're looking forward to seeing as many applications as possible moving through the next weeks. We will notify everyone that has applied sometime in November whether or not you have made a successful application, you're going to be receiving a grant or not. I want to say this: if you're not successful in receiving a Beyond Open grant in round 1, we strongly encourage you to apply again in round 2, which will be coming up in the early part of next year. So there's not long to wait, and we want to make sure that you understand that if you are not successful in this round, there are other rounds coming up, and we want to be able to support you, and we encourage you to apply again. Another note: if you are successful in receiving a Beyond Open grant in round 1, you can apply again in round 2 and round 3. We would just ask that you make sure that you've either used the funds that were allocated in a previous round, or show us that you have devoted or dedicated those funds for the asset that you requested. But this is meant to incentivize everyone to participate in either multiple rounds or a round, even if they're not successful in one of the rounds. We will announce the exact timeline for the upcoming round 2 in the early part of next year. I think you can expect that will be sometime in the spring, perhaps early summer of next year, for round 2 to open. We have the wonderful wisdom and experience of a panel of advisory council members that are drawn from across the community that have helped design this program, have helped us connect with small business owners and their voices and perspectives in creating all of the information and the systems that you see here to bring Beyond Open to life. These are representatives from each of the corridors of opportunity, plus neighborhood and community representatives, plus representatives from some of the organizations that are in the small business ecosystem broadly. And we want to be mindful, and we are thankful of their great contributions and wonderful wisdom as we're moving forward. I'm sure that for some of you, these may be familiar faces, and we encourage you to reach out to any of them for information as you wish. And finally, I'm going to get through this next section relatively quickly, and then we'll go to some of the questions that you've asked during the session. As I said, we want to make sure that this program is accessible to as many small business owners, diverse small business owners in the community as possible. And for that reason, we've launched a very active outreach campaign, which includes multiple ways for people to get this information and participate by meeting people where they are. So we have direct mail going out. We'll have teams of people going door to small businesses inside the corridors, community events like this one, webinars like this one, advertising, paid media, and you may have seen some Beyond Open ads already. Some of our media partners have been great about sharing information already as news stories. Of course, the website, as I mentioned, at beyondopenclt.com is the major resource, and we encourage you to go there. There's frequently asked question information on the website, a list of the upcoming events, a review of exactly what we'll be asking for. But the most important thing at this moment is there's a big button on there that says apply. And that's the next step for you and your small business in participating in Beyond Open is to go ahead and apply. And finally, outreach through social media. We've got a wide variety of collateral materials that are available, and you can download these on the website and share them. Again, the intention is to make sure that diverse small business owners know about this program and that they can choose to participate if they wish to with support. We don't want any small business owner in Mecklenburg County not to participate in Beyond Open because they didn't know about it. If you choose not to, that's your call. That is your business, and we are supportive of whatever decision you might make, of course, that's best for you and your business. But we don't want it to be because you weren't aware of it. So please do help us share this program with others that you know in the community. And we've got many ways to do that. I'm just going to flip through these examples very quickly, and then we'll turn to questions. As I mentioned, our upcoming events, both live and virtual, that are spread throughout the rest of this month. Flyers, and I wanted to lift up a couple of examples just so you can see relative size. So things like this are available, and I think my background is blocking that out. We've got posters, we've got palm cards, many ways to help share Beyond Open out in the community that are available. So it is 10:22, and I've shared some basic information about Beyond Open, but this is intended to be an opportunity to ask questions and get more information. So I know some of you have been submitting great questions into our chat, and I'll turn to Ismail or Aladina or Azania to lift up any question that you think is out there. And again, if you don't hear your question being responded to during today's session, know that we will get back to you and respond and get you the information that you need.
Thank you, Tracy. I have two questions here from Sylvia Smith. The first one is, what are the consequences of not using the funds within the time frame or as stipulated?
Hi, Sylvia, and welcome. Glad you're here this morning. That's a great question. We, of course, assume that if you make the request and you apply for a grant, that you have a need that is important and that you will acquire that asset, whatever it might be, equipment, technology, real estate, inventory, because it's important for your business to grow. So a couple of things to know about the use of the funds. We will be checking in after we've made the grant just to make sure that you did indeed acquire the asset that you requested the funds for and can show us some kind of documentation that happened. We also know that things can happen, and right now supply chains are not the best. So there could be delays in actually receiving equipment, as an example, that you may order. So we'll keep in touch with you about that. I would say that I think you asked about penalties or what have you about not using the funds. We assume that you will use the funds. We assume that after having gone through the application process and our review process, that we'll end up with grantees who are ready to go and will use these assets. We'll help you to use the funds that you receive if you need that, but our assumption is you are going to use it. And if for some reason there's an issue, we'll stay in conversation and help you to solve it. And let me say this too about, and I mentioned this, but if you wish to apply again in round 2 after receiving a grant in round 1, we will want to make sure that you have either expended the funds that you were given from round 1 or that you can show us, an order slip or something that shows that those funds have been committed to that asset. Thank you, Sylvia. That was a great question.
Okay, Tracy, her follow-up question, still from Sylvia.
Mhm.
She asks, everyone that applies will not get funded. What would keep a business from being awarded a grant? And what gives a business a leg up in being awarded a grant?
Right. It's a great question. And, we've got a strong response already in terms of applications being started for Beyond Open grants in round one. You're correct that not everyone that applies will receive a grant. We wish we could fund all of the requests that we'll be receiving for these grant funds. I'd say this, the applications that reflect the clearest connection between the asset you're asking for and that you wish to acquire and your vision of how that can help your business grow and prosper will be the ones that will rise to the top. That's what we're looking for. Of course, we will check around eligibility requirements and location, those kinds of things. And there's some documentation that we ask for, but we assume that those are baseline components of information. What we're really looking for are opportunities for diverse small business owners to make a big difference in the life of their business. And we will select the ones that we believe have that best potential. We have a fantastic team of community people assembled in a review team. They have a blend of experiences in finance, small business, and they are mindful and knowledgeable about the community. We'll be looking at all the applications. They'll make recommendations. Foundation for the Carolinas will make the final decisions based on those recommendations. But it's a thorough process, and we feel good about the outcomes being the best ones that we can possibly arrive on. I encourage you again, if you're not successful in round one, to still apply for a future round. And the timeline for that really is only a matter of months, 4 or 5 months, perhaps at the most, for round two to open. So it's not that long. Things that would be stumbling blocks would, of course, be you don't meet the eligibility requirements, which is why we try to be very clear about what those are. You're not able to provide the documentation that's requested and required for your application would also be a stumbling block and disqualify you. But in general, things that it's not so much what will rule you out as how many we can fund that have the best case and that clear connection between your vision of your future in that business and the funds and the asset that you can acquire with those funds. That's what we're looking for. And I hope that's helpful, Sylvia, and good luck to you. We look forward to your application.
Great. Tracy, the next question is kind of somewhat tangentially similar to what you just said, but Jacqueline Smith asks, if one is not successful in round one, will there be support to identify deficient areas for moving forward in subsequent rounds?
A strong yes to your question, Jacqueline, and thank you for posing that. Yes. Idea behind our strong encouragement, if you're not successful in round one or round two, leading into round three, is that you do connect with one of our community partner organizations, Aspire, Prospera, or the Women's Business Center, and work with them to create and apply with the best application again in round two. And that's exactly why those organizations are partnering with us to help you get to the strongest point for application that you possibly can be. And we want to say yes, and I can't repeat that often enough. So yes, there is support there. We strongly encourage you, if you're not successful in round one, to apply for round two. Don't be discouraged, and know that support's available to you. And I should say this too: there is no impact from having been declined in round one in your application for round two. So it's not a negative mark, if you will, to be declined. In fact, our encouragement of your application in round two from a not successful application in round one is built upon the premise that if you work with these community partner organizations to fulfill whatever weaknesses or deficiencies, whatever you might call it, in your application, that you can look forward to a very strong chance of receiving funds in round two or round three.
Tracy, thank you. Our
Thank
next
you.
question comes from Stephen Sylvester.
Hi, Stephen.
Stephen asks, is using the grant funds to obtain a loan to purchase property or equipment considered a part of the capital asset requirement?
Yes, and so under that real estate category, we would need to, of course, to know more information about exactly the property and its significance to your business and its growth. Of course, we'd want to make sure that its location fits the eligibility requirements, and we'd want to know more about the structure of the loan and some other information. And so I want to give you a qualified yes. That is an eligibility requirement that would allow you to apply. Doesn't guarantee you're going to receive a grant, of course, but part of the intention is to help small business owners who need some kind of physical space, a storefront, a store, brick and mortar building, warehouse, storage building, workshops, those kinds of spaces that you're able to obtain them. We're mindful that purchasing a building outright is not in the cards for everyone. We're mindful that real estate is expensive inside Mecklenburg County. We know that leasing is a big part of the picture for small business growth. So we'll work with you, but I would encourage you to start your application, and we'll get to know each other a bit more and can help you. And I do want to turn to Almadina, who is one of our experts and is on the review team, as a matter of fact. Almadina, anything to add about that response for that question?
I am very sorry, Tracy. I was answering something else in
Sure.
the chat and I disconnected a little bit.
Yeah. So let's do this. See, I think I've given you the baseline information on that. I would encourage you to apply. If I thought that that was a no, I would say so. But it sounds like you are eligible to apply. We just need to know a little bit more information. So I would say start your application, and we'll get to that point of conversation.
All right, Tracy, our next question here is from an anonymous attendee who asks, I am in the process of relocating my business from Florida. The business is still registered in Florida, but I am here now. Am I eligible to apply?
So we received a number of questions of this type already, and I'm certain that we'll receive more. Again, what we're looking for is impact and business viability for businesses that are located inside Mecklenburg County. We probably would need to know a little bit more about where you are on that timeline for relocation and what exactly that has meant so far and what that can mean. If it's a future plan, you don't have space yet or building or what have you, facilities, operations going right now for round one, that's probably not the strongest application profile. But if those plans are more short-term or imminent, we just want to know more about them so that we can give you an answer definitively. But again, I would say the way to get the clearest answer is to start your application and give us a little bit more background and information about your situation and what you're looking at, and we can guide you from there.
Great, thank you, Tracy. It's another question from Sylvia. She asks, is there a way to have someone review the application before it is submitted for final review?
Yes, and I strongly encourage you to work with one of our community partner organizations in exactly that way. Bring your questions, bring your ideas to them. They'll work with you to help develop your application. They will work with you, to see draft responses that you might create for your application and help you build the strongest application possible. So yes is the answer, and that's a great idea. And I would also encourage you to work with people that have been significant to you in the life of your business and participating in that process to help you to create the best application that you can. Let me caveat that. A review from one of our community partner organizations and their assurance that you've got a strong application, of course, does not mean that you will receive a grant necessarily. What it does is set you up for the best possible chance as we're looking at your application to say yes. So I don't want to make it sound like that if you go through, and we encourage you to do this, work with a community partner organization, and they feel like you have a strong application, that's necessarily a yes from the program itself, but absolutely would encourage you to work with one of them leading up to that point.
All right, Tracy, our next question comes from Bridget Fredericks. She asked, if we are awarded a grant, will that money be taxable?
Hi, Bridget. That's a great question, and we have received that question. We're not tax experts, so I would direct you to your tax professional or advisor for an answer on that. It's just not possible for us to give guidance on that. I don't know is the short version of the answer, but I would encourage you to find out more information about the potential tax impacts of a grant.
Tracy, our next question comes from an anonymous attendee who asks, what if we have our eye on a space, but it is gone before the grant funds are required?
Yeah, we're mindful that's a real scenario and a risk always. So I'd say the way that we can help you is to we will begin your application as soon as you can. We'll let you know as soon as we can in November, and get the funds to you as soon as we can in December. So we will move through that entire process as quickly as possible. I can imagine that there will be scenarios where opportunities around real estate will disappear. This is a very, very active real estate market. We know that. It's not possible for us to give you a guarantee to assure funds in a finance package prior to notification. But if you're facing a situation in which you will be receiving a grant, we've let you know you'll be receiving a grant, we can work with you in that process to let whomever you're working with know that you will be receiving these funds as and if that's helpful. But that's we'll get there down the road. But I do want to be real that that is definitely a possibility for everyone as we're moving through this process. So I would advise that you have your eyes on perhaps multiple sites, locations, potentials and opportunities for doing that.
Tracy, this question comes from T. If I apply for an $100,000 grant and does not provide all the documents needed, but the documents fit the $20,000 grant, will it be denied, or will I be able to get the $20,000 grant?
No, you'll be evaluated and your application will be reviewed per the requirements of the amount that you're requesting. I would advise that if you cannot meet the eligibility, the documentation requirements for any level of grant that you're requesting, that you let us know and that you resubmit an application for the documentation that you do have available. Because we would want to be helpful if we can be, and would hate for that not to happen because of some documentation issues. And we certainly do understand that in the life of small businesses, sometimes these documents and assembling all the paperwork can be challenging. So we'll work with you, but you will be evaluated on the amount that you request and those documentation requirements. And if the documents that are in place in your application for the amount that you're requesting on October the 28th at 5 p.m. lack the documents that are required, you won't receive a grant. So I do want to be clear about that. So the thing is, to be mindful of what you do have available, what you can get in on time, and to make some decisions and adjustments as you can. We will not automatically roll your application down to the next level, to fit the documents that you did submit. That's something that you will need to do in your application.
Can I just add to that? What Tracy just shared, I think it's what's really unique about this program, if anyone has applied for grant programs before, is that we do have a built-in system with community support organizations. So exactly what Tracy shared, if for some reason you don't have those documents, but you are able to reach out to community support organizations to possibly pull those together before October 28th, we encourage you to do so. You're able to start your application, save it with the information you've provided to date, and just be sure that you have everything by October 28th. But that's right, if you don't have all those materials, that is not the grant tier that you would like to apply to.
Thank you, Azania. That's a great addition. And I would say, and you're thinking about your application and what your your business needs, that perhaps if you don't feel you can assemble the documentation and meet the requirements for one of the larger amounts, that you think about what a starting point might look like in the $5,000 to $20,000 range, and build out the strongest application that you can for that grant. And if you're successful, again, you can apply for round 2 and receive additional grant dollars for your business that perhaps could add on to the first round that you received, and allow you to keep moving, as opposed to one grand package, so to speak. If you're able to break it up into smaller components that require less documentation, you're definitely more likely to move forward and receive a grant. But I do want to be clear that the documents that are required. They will not. Your application will not go to the review team if the documents are not in place. So it's not even going to be considered without the key documents for the amount that you've requested.
Tracy, we're getting a few more questions still, but I
Great.
wanted to highlight kind of a theme in some of the questions we've answered over the chat in
Sure.
regards to the if there is a business located outside of Mecklenburg County and adjacent county, such as Rowan or Union, eligibility in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, the eligibility requirements around location are that the business be located inside Mecklenburg County. So, in terms of what we'll be looking at, we will give priority, as I said, to businesses that are located inside the corridors, and then those that are located inside Mecklenburg County. If your business is not located inside Mecklenburg County, you're not eligible for one of these grants, is the short answer. I understand that, as many of us do, we have business activities that take us across counties, across the region, perhaps even across the 2 states. And that's great. And that's the profile of many small businesses. But the primary center of your business must be inside Mecklenburg County for you to meet these eligibility requirements. So that's what we'll be looking for. If you have, if there's a scenario where you have multiple locations, perhaps, and you have locations that are outside Mecklenburg County, we'll be looking for the locations that are inside Mecklenburg County, not just operations, not just meeting clients or providing services inside Mecklenburg County, but that the locus and the primary activity of your business is inside Mecklenburg County.
Tracy, our next question comes from Mrs. Marlena. She asks, can you apply for different grant amounts at the same time?
No, you're only eligible to apply for one grant per applicant. And I would encourage you to prioritize among your ideas for your grant options, what you'd like to apply for first. You certainly can apply for one grant this round, and then in less than 6 months, you'll probably be able to apply again for a different asset. So I would encourage you to do that. If we're looking at an application and it has what look like multiple requests inside it, we'll probably reach back out to you and ask you to do what I just described. So I would not at all discourage you from applying because you have multiple ideas. I would encourage you to select one as your top choice and pursue that one in the best way that you can.
Thank you, Tracy. Our next question comes from Tina Laporta. She asks, do I collect letters of reference, or do I provide you with contact information?
It's a great question. And you will collect your letters of reference and upload them into the application platform. We will be providing further details about what we're looking for in a letter of reference by Monday coming up. So I would think, for now, be thinking about your business contacts, community contacts that know you best and can describe your business or your startup best, and give us the clearest idea of what your business is about, what it does, that it's active, and that is that is a primary focus of your time and attention and resources. So we will not be reaching out to references provided unless we feel like we want some clarification from perhaps their letter or some other information. But in general, it's up to you to work with your references ask them to write that letter and for you to upload it.
Tracy, I'm going to follow up to that in terms of just the logistical side in the application as well.
Sure.
When you're uploading information, you'll have questions that have file uploads as the question. Just as a heads up, the application only allows PDF uploads. So just to be mindful of that during the process, to have a PDF version of these letters or whatever other documentation you will need to be uploading for application purposes. Sylvia actually has asked a question as well as a quick follow-up, very much related to Tina's question, so I'll go ahead and pose that now. Sylvia asks, where can those details for letters of reference be obtained?
Yeah, you'll see those on the website on Monday, and they will be in the FAQs in one area. And we will also be adding some descriptive language in the application itself. So when you get to that section, there'll be a way for you to get further details about what we're looking for in that letter of reference. Great.
And Sylvia says thank you as well, Tracy.
And thank you, Sylvia. And thank you for being with us, Sylvia and everyone on the call. These are great questions. And it lets us know that, we've got a group of people that are motivated and excited about applying, and we're excited to see your application. So thank you.
All right, Tracy, our next question comes from Caitlin Morris. The question is, can you provide examples of eligible capital assets for creative professionals, such as artists whom primarily operate outside a traditional office setting? Also, will you offer application feedback to those not awarded?
So to answer your first question, yes. And in fact, we're reaching out to creatives in the community specifically to let them know about Beyond Open, because we want creatives, artists to participate in this program. And Zania, do we have a session with Charlotte is Creative coming up?
We have a pitch.
Yes.
So we won't lead the session, but if anyone has attended Charlotte's Creative, we will have a pitch. We will be able to explain about the program. Charlotte is Creative has also sent out an article, a blog through the Biscuit about the program in detail. So we are working directly with the creative community.
Great. So, and I'm going to get to a specific response to your very specific question around examples in just a second. But I want to make sure that that you are clear and that others who are in the creative spaces of our community understand that these grants are for you too. If you make your living primarily as an artist, as a creative, and you are a business in that way, these grants are for you. I don't know what your what medium you work in or specific discipline, but I can imagine that there could be equipment that you wish you had that would help you create what you create. There could be need for space to work in, and I know that's a very, very urgent need for many, many creatives in the community. So that's another possible use. If what you do is in some way connected to or dependent upon technology to create it, 3D printers, digital equipment, etc., those will be eligible. And if you think about, from your perspective, your business is, more inside a traditional business model, and you need laptop, basic communications equipment to allow your business to grow and thrive as a creative business. Those are eligible too. So I would think about what are the assets that would enable my business, my pursuit to grow and prosper over time, and how can I describe that connection in my Beyond Open grant application. But again, I want to encourage you and other creatives in the community to apply and be a part and participate in this program.
Great, Tracy. Our next question is from Mrs. Marlena again. She asks, is it a good idea to get letters of recommendation for the Make Bold Moves grant?
I would say that, yeah. Go ahead, Zania. Go ahead.
Call Tracy. It's not listed as a requirement. She's just asking if that additional ad would be helpful.
I'm going to say yes. I think any information that you can share about your business, your vision, the connection between the asset that you would like to acquire and the future of your business would be very, very beneficial. So I'm going to say yes, that would be helpful.
And I'll add to that point, Tracy, in terms of how the application is formatted. If you do select the Make Bold Moves grant, I believe it's not going to specifically ask you for those letters of recommendation, that it only asks you for the Build for Success, but there should be an option for you to upload additional documentation should you want to include those as well.
Yes, it's a great question. Thank you.
All right.
There are a couple of questions that have come up, in this conversation and some others that I can share information about that others may have on their mind. And one is we've gotten a question around, is Beyond Open a sort of a first come, first serve model, or do we wait until we have all of the applications in to make decisions and make grant awards? And so the answer is we are collecting all of the applications through October the 28th at 5 p.m. We will not make any decisions on those applications that are final until all of the applications are in, and no funds will be dispersed until we've made decisions and everyone's been notified. So it is not a first come, first serve program. I would say that, an application that came in already at this point on Saturday, October the 1st, will be considered with the same weight as an application that comes in on October the 28th at 3 p.m. I would encourage you not to wait until that late time or date, but we will collect all those applications and consider them together. We, of course, will be reviewing them as they're coming in because we're getting a lot of applications, and we just, we need to get a head start on taking a look at what's coming in. But the decisions will not be made until we have all of the applications in and we're able to choose what we think are the strongest ones from the entire pool. Second question that has come up around the chance or the opportunity for businesses that are owned by multiple partners or people to apply, which we certainly know and are mindful that that's a common structure for small business. The eligibility requirement that we're looking for is that the majority partner own 51% of the company, and that majority partner be diverse, minority, veteran, LGBTQ, woman-owned. So that's what we're looking for there. Amadine, anything to add on that particular point?
No, I think that was perfect. As long as the majority, meets those criteria, and there could be 3 business owners, right? And 2 of them have the 60% of the business, they meet the criteria. That's it. That's what we need.
Great.
Tracy, we have a few more questions here.
Great.
All very good questions. If we have time to get to all of them, I think that would be
Sure.
very good. The next one comes from Adrian Gerald. Asks, do we need our asset request to be itemized, and would you recommend us including the quotes we received?
Yes, is the short and direct answer. Absolutely. The more clarity and detail you provide, the better. We will want, if you're asking for equipment and there's sort of multiple pieces of that equipment or components, we'll want to know what they are and what the cost for each of them is. So yes, itemized lists are fantastic. And I'm sorry, I've just dropped the second part of the question, Ish.
And yeah, the second part says, and would you recommend us including the quotes we received?
Yes, and in fact, we're requiring and requiring for documentation that shows backup, quote, bid, price sheet, something as a part of your application for those assets.
Great. Our next question comes from anonymous attendee who asks, please elaborate, define independent franchisor. I see that franchises are eligible only if under an independent franchisor. Sure.
So if your business is licensed and structured as a franchise, there are varying models for franchise operations. Some of them are owned by the corporate entity itself, and some are owned licensed by that entity, but are locally owned. If you have a franchise, it must be locally owned as a franchise. So we understand that there are lots and lots of models for franchise operations. I would say if it's not clear that your franchise is locally owned, you own it as perhaps the example that think very carefully about where the ownership lies, because it must be with a diverse small business owner.
And if I may add, if there are multiple locations, this will only apply to the location that is located within Charlotte Mecklenburg County, right? So if they have another location in Greensboro, that wouldn't apply.
Thank you, Amadina.
Our next question comes from Bridget Fredericks again. She asks, if I have two different businesses with different needs, can I make two applications to the grant, one for each business?
No, you'll be able to apply for one Beyond Open grant as a small business owner. And again, I would encourage you to prioritize among the two. And congratulations, I hope they're both very successful and doing well. But you'll be able to submit one application. And again, you might think about needs around one of the businesses for round one, and then other needs for round two for the second business to do that.
Tracy, our next question comes from Chef Greedy, asking, with the real estate market being fluid and given the previous answer regarding the identification of multiple locations, does the application support listing all possible locations, or would we list the first choice?
Yeah, I would say that, and this may be a topic that we'd want to know more about and explore with you, but on the surface of it, it sounds like the location that you're either in or thinking about should be inside Mecklenburg County primarily, and that you focus on that location. The other locations, that's great, but they're not relevant really to this grant program in terms of our thinking around eligibility. So I'd encourage you to think about the primary location being inside Mecklenburg County and what you can tell us about that location.
All right, Tracy, we've gotten through all of the questions within our Xanium. If there were any answered ones that we felt we needed to lift up again, we can do that. But I feel we've gotten through all that has been asked, and I hope we've been able to answer everyone's questions that they had today. And
well, thank you everyone for joining
well.
and for sharing some time on a Saturday morning right after a giant weather event and a storm. So we're happy to have you here with us. And again, we encourage you to apply. I think some of the responses on the more complex questions. I'd say this: if you feel that you meet the core of eligibility requirements and the core of what a Beyond Open grant can do to go ahead and start your application, and we can have a conversation. You can work with the community partner organizations to sharpen your application about that. If you're clearly not, don't meet the eligibility requirements, I do want you to be mindful of them. And, we will look at each application. The application process itself will tell you something about the eligibility, but I don't want anyone to leave this conversation or any other with any false illusion about what the eligibility requirements are. So know that, and we have provided that information. But broadly, again, this program is for you, for diverse small business owners. We want to help you. That's what these funds are for. We are not a bank. This is not a profit-making enterprise. This is a grant and a program that's been made possible by Wells Fargo, led by Foundation for the Carolinas. And our goal is to help you. And to the degree that we're able to do that, that's what we are defining as success. And we'll be looking to you as you look towards your vision of success and how we can help you in participating in Beyond Open. More information, again, at beyondopenclt.com. We do have additional sessions coming up. Encourage you to participate in any of those you'd like to and share with others as you'd like to. And to begin your application as soon as you can. Don't wait. And we look forward to seeing them. And again, thanks for sharing time this morning.
And I'd just like to give voice, Tracy, to Almudena's last response as she replied to a question. Who do they contact for more support? Tracy hit it, website. There's the email address for technical at info@beyondopenclt.com. But certainly, please take advantage of those community support partners. They are partners who work directly with small business owners like yourself to not only be able to successfully apply for this grant program, but to position your business for
Great
growth and
point.
success for many other programs. So certainly leverage this partnership to allow this as an opportunity to get all your paperwork together for this opportunity and many others. And those are Aspire, Prospera, and Women's Business Center of Charlotte.
And their contact information is on the website under support. So they have email, phone, very easy to get a hold of them.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How many did we have total?
I think it hit around. Let me stop the recording.